Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building. We're the WWE champion, the brother. Y'all know him.
Come on,
Big
man.
E.
Only the fourth black WWE champion in history.
Yeah. And we only had one until a few years ago, so we're making some progress.
So was it Booker T?
The Rock. Actually, Booker T was world heavyweight champion. A different title, but, similar prestige, but The Rock was the first.
See, I didn't know if The Rock, and this going to sound crazy, I didn't know if The Rock got labeled as black. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I'm not going to be the one to legislate his blackness.
I
I'll
never
put
looked
him
at
as
The Rock as black, though.
I
don't know, but I ain't like
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Yeah, exactly. His dad is black, so that works
his dad's
for me.
black.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so
he
The Rock is
presents
black.
as a black man to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So The Rock is black.
But we're not here to talk about The Rock. We're here to talk about Big E.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Now, what makes a brother? First of all, where you from?
I'm from Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
My parents are from the Caribbean, though, Jamaican and Montserratian.
That's right, because my mom's from Montserrat, too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes, indeed. That's why I was excited before you came here. I was like, he's part
He definitely
Montserrat.
said that this morning. Like, he's Montserrat.
There's not a lot of us.
I was going to say, it's a tiny island, so
Right.
it's a very small amount, but that's dope.
Have you ever been there?
I've never been. I need to rectify that. My aunt currently lives there, and she keeps telling me I need to buy
You
a
have
house
to go.
there.
I'm going to set you up at the tourism department in Montserrat.
Please
so
do.
that you have a great experience.
I need to go.
Because they'll take you to the exclusion zone. That's where the volcano eruption, the lava flows. So you can't go there unless they bring you. And then you have to leave your car on with the car running facing away from the volcano in case something happens.
Wow.
You have like a few
So you
minutes
want this
to
man
get
to end
out.
his life. You want this man-
You really trying to take out the fourth black WWE champion? Wow.
I took my mom
Wow.
and everything.
Leave
but
the car
yes,
running,
you have
like-
to go. It's
I
an
need to.
amazing experience.
Now,
I love
how did you get
Montserrat.
into wrestling, brother?
So I played football at Iowa, but I had a bunch of injuries, tore both my ACLs, broke my right patella, tore my left pec in 2.5 years. And I said, maybe this football thing isn't for me. But I just ended up, I was in grad school at the time, and I just had someone come up to me and said, hey, is this something you might want to try? I just happened to know a guy who knew someone with WWE.
So it was really, you started real wrestling. It wasn't like backyard wrestling first.
No. I got signed by WWE with zero experience whatsoever. I got lucky, took a job on a whim, and 12 years later, still doing it.
Was it
did they
because
see?
of your chest?
Yes, yeah. The chest will get you in a bunch of doors.
Okay.
I used to be kind of ashamed of it because people would always make comments about it, but I'm embracing my large pecs.
When did that fill out?
When did I develop?
Yes.
It's so weird.
It is, but it's fine.
When did you develop?
It's not. All I'm saying is respectfully, you got a very
Right.
pronounced
It is pronounced.
chest. Like,
yeah.
it's
Why
the
you
kind
gotta
of
say it
chest
like that?
people do push-ups
Say,
for.
brother, your chest look good. You can say that.
It does. That's why you do push-ups. That's why you do bench press. I
Right.
want that.
It
Like,
feels like when
respect.
Leighton Benton was here. I don't know if you remember her.
But go ahead, brother.
All right. Yeah. So I developed at a young age, honestly. I started working out even before I was 12, but I started working out for real when I was 12, and the chest popped right away.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I did some powerlifting too. Won
Okay.
a national championship. No big deal.
yeah, you jumping around a little bit. I need
I
to know
am.
the steps.
Gotcha.
And you know what I mean? You didn't just go from Tampa to Swole
This
to
is true.
WWE.
This is
Because we
true.
see all these people saying, it's been my dream to be in the WWE. I'm about to do it. But it's not that easy at all.
Everyone has a different path. We have a lot of guys who wrestled for 10 years before they had opportunities with WWE. My path is different. I was an athlete. I was a state champion wrestler in high school. Like I said, did some powerlifting, played football at Iowa. So I kind of bounced around doing some different things athletically and just ended up stumbling into this job. But I love it. We get to travel the world, making kids' day. It's the best.
Did you know the moves at all, or did you have to learn all that from the door?
I had to learn it all from the door. So I was a huge fan as a kid. I love Goldberg. I actually got to meet Goldberg in the late 90s, so it's kind of crazy that I'm wrestling now in the same company with Goldberg. But yeah, so it definitely, I had a lot to learn. It's very different from football and from a lot of the other stuff I did.
Were you a WWF, WCW guy?
I grew up in Florida, so I was a big WCW guy.
Yeah.
It was a Southern promotion, so I love that feel of WCW. And I would go back and forth, because back then, obviously you watch Nitro, you have to flip back and forth watching Raw. But yeah, I was more of a WCW guy.
And that was the Four Horsemen, Lex Luger. In a way, you kind of remind me of Lex Luger.
I'll
Body,
take that.
physique
I'll take that.
wise.
Yeah, Luger was massive
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Just jacked as hell, but yeah.
And for you guys in particular, I would say you could really see how representation matters when it comes to the New Day and the impact that had on kids. Because, look, it's not like I watch a whole lot of wrestling, but I actually went to SummerSlam at the Barclays. Yes.
Yeah. Your boyfriend loves wrestling.
And I actually have a Bootios t-shirt.
Respect. I appreciate that.
I should have wore it today, but that's so random. But honestly, just even like the way that you guys present yourselves, I think is incredible for kids who are so into wrestling. I can just imagine how that has impacted kids.
Yeah, no, it's been important for us because the three of us, we're nerds, we're comic book nerds, but so we wanted really just to be ourselves. I think too often in our industry, you would see talent of color put in certain boxes, like you have to be a rapper or a dancer. So we just wanted to be ourselves, and we came out wearing bright colors, these phallic unicorn horns on our head, just doing silly stuff. And the response, at first was rocky, but for us getting off the ground and being able to, we just wanted to show people you can be yourselves, you can be unique, and you can still be proudly black.
What did your parents say when you wanted to be a wrestler? When you say, "Mom, I want to be a wrestler," what did she say?
So my dad, funnily enough, he's a huge wrestling fan. He would watch like if Raw was on, he'd watch Raw, the Raw replay, and another like a third. He's a massive wrestling fan, but he was just always worried that I'd get hurt. So that was his big thing. But he's been to shows too. So
what's the worst injury you had?
Wrestling, I tore my meniscus a couple years ago, but that's not bad. It's just a 6-week recovery.
Do you remember when the New Day popped?
I do. It was right after WrestleMania in 2015, and for us, we were good guys. We were baby faces for a while, but the crowd hated it. They turned on us, and it wasn't until we got to be heels and to let loose. And once the company kind of like took their hands off and let us be free to be ourselves, that's when we were able to really take off.
That seems like more fun anyway.
Yeah, way more fun. I love being a heel. I love being able to like berate kids and like it's the best. But it's all part of the show, so it's fun.
Yeah, I always wonder who writes the storylines, who creates these characters.
Well, it's a give and take. There's definitely, Vince is still, we call it gorilla. So it's the area right before you go out of the curtain. He's still very heavily involved. He's still the one who pulls all the strings, but kind of for the reason that we were able to take off is because we got some more freedom with our promos. A lot of people are, you're kind of handed a script and you have to say it, but thankfully we have the freedom to kind of play around with what we say.
How did they decide who's going to be the next big thing in wrestling? Is it the fans?
That's a great question.
Is it Vince? Is it is it what's going on in the world? Because in the last couple of years you see more and more black people raising to the top.
Are you the Black Lives Matter champion? Basically, is what it says.
Hey, you never know if sometimes you're given that opportunity because of that reason. It's a combination. Definitely, the fans have a say because my tag partner Kofi took off a couple years ago because of the fan response. Like he was just a substitute in a match and people really got behind him and they wouldn't shut up about it every single week. So that was we got to a certain point where it was undeniable for the office. And they said they had to change their plans because he wasn't supposed to be the guy. So then I think that's the beautiful part of our business is our fans really can steer the show. Like if they're really behind someone, they can this is clearly our guy.
One thing about WWE, it doesn't seem like the popularity of the WWE has ever waned.
Yeah, it's a brand. It's a massive brand. And I think a lot of times people who don't necessarily watch the show or know who you are, they've heard of WWE. They're familiar with the term WWE. So, yeah, the brand is still strong, and we're doing our best. A lot of people talk about, I watched during Macho Man and Hogan, and, they're not as familiar with the current brand. And our hope is to start making people a little bit more familiar.
Well, I think y'all doing a great job because I don't watch like I used to, but I knew the New Day. I'm familiar with you. You know what I mean? So that to me, that's when you're bigger. Not gonna say bigger than the sport, but people that casuals know who you all are, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and that's a big. We've tried to do stuff outside of the ring as well. That's a big part. I got lucky enough to be a part of Fury Wilder to do the intros for that fight a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
so being able to do things like that and show people who might not jump into that wrestling bubble, but when they see you do other things or they see you do cameos or shows or movies or whatever it is, they realize, oh, they understand entertainment. They know how to get people on their feet. So
how do they protect the wrestlers? Like I noticed back then when I used to watch when it was the Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, wrestlers would get hurt. Like you would see blood coming from the head. Like they would get hurt.
Yeah.
You don't see that as much now. So how are they protecting the wrestlers now?
Well, we have what we call like a wellness policy. So there's drug testing now as far as helping to protect us that there wasn't necessarily several years ago. But I mean, you're still falling down. You're still getting hit with chairs. You can't fake that. So there's definitely still a very real level.
Anybody
of danger.
hit you in the wrong way and you was like, I got to see him after this show?
I settle everything in the ring. So we call them receipts. Or if someone potatoes you or gives it to you a little bit stiffer than they should. A potato is just something where all right, this kind of went outside the bonds of what we talked about. You went a little too far. You're a little too physical. Then you just give it back to them. You gotta know how to kind of stand your ground in there.
Did you encounter a lot of racism?
In WWE? No, honestly, I haven't. I will say, I feel like as far as our representation on TV, I feel like we've gotten Like we're getting to where we need to be. It's still always a work in progress, but I think oftentimes if there are issues, it would present themselves as people see you a certain way. And they want you to, as a character, oh, you're a big black man, so this is the role you need to play. Mm-hmm. And our goal with the New Day was to start tearing down those boxes so people don't see performers, when they see a black woman, they think she needs to be sister necking and doing certain things. And I look at someone like Bianca. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bianca Belair, but she's so dope to me because not only is she an incredible athlete, but she's so authentic. What you see on screen is who she is off screen. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like I think we're getting more of those kinds of black characters on TV that are authentic, that feel like one of ones.
How often do you train?
I'm lifting 4 days a week, 2 days of cardio, and 1 off day.
So, when I mean train, jumping off the rope and all that stuff, that like you can't just be like, all right, I'm going to figure this out.
Well, we have so many shows, man. Even beyond the shows that we're actually doing on TV, we're doing live events. So typically we're doing about 4 shows a week. So that in and of itself is kind of your training. You're just doing shows every single day almost that trains you.
Is being WWE champion now the same as it was in the 80s and 90s, you think? Same level of popularity, stardom, fame?
I think it's different. Obviously, there's just so much content now, whether it's, with streaming services and whatnot. So, there were years ago where you might have 6 to 8 million viewers for Monday Night Raw. And we're working on getting that viewership, but we're not doing 6 to 8 million viewers, but just there's a sea of content. So I think it's definitely changed. Things have changed, but we're also in a prominent position where Raw is on USA. We have SmackDown on Fox, so we're out there.
I also think that wrestlers don't get enough credit for the great acting jobs that they do.
Yeah,
y'all are performers. Like
we are.
We can't act like. It shouldn't be no surprise to anyone that The Rock is killing in Hollywood.
Exactly. And I think, and granted, I'm not going to say you're always going to watch Emmy caliber performances from us from an acting perspective, but I think what we do does train you in entertainment. And not just, the cool thing is not just The Rock, but you look at John Cena having success.
John Cena.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, Dave Bautista is a hell of an actor.
Batista. Yeah, people forget about Batista.
Yeah, so that's, they've kind of helped pave the way to show, like, yeah, we're wrestlers, but we also know how to do these different facets of entertainment as well.
Now, not to get into your pockets, but how much do wrestlers make?
Sounds like you're in them.
Let's Google his net worth real quick.
The Google's way off. Google's way off. It's way off.
Yeah. But how much do wrestlers usually make when they get? Because some people be like, I never wanted to be a wrestler because I didn't think I could get money.
Right.
Well, you have to get to a certain level too.
But when you start off, when WWE first signed you, what was your first check at WWE?
So I got signed when I was with WWE. I got signed in 2009. But so I was under WWE contract, but I wasn't on TV. So I was essentially assigned to the developmental system.
Okay.
That time, I'm making $500 a week. So we're talking about like $26,000 a year, a pin, not making much money.
So you still living with moms at that point?
Actually, I was at one point. I actually moved because it was in Tampa, so I moved with my
your
folks.
Your chest is way too big to live with your mom at any point in life.
I'm going to be eating it that damn quick. Okay.
Too much, so they got me out of there. But the money definitely went up for me when I got to the main roster. And, we have certain people who might be making $300,000. We also have certain people who are making millions of dollars. I've been fortunate enough to be. I'm taken care of.
You got great merchandise too.
Yeah, and the merch is, we like to, like you said, the Bootios, for people who aren't familiar. We have an actual cereal that you can go to FYE, and we is my
Bootios
group.
is you?
Yeah, that's me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's wild that people know the Bootios, but don't know me.
People, you see them with the boxes and you see the Bootios, it almost seems fake.
That merch has to be really bringing in some paper.
We're doing all right. We're doing okay.
We actually had a box in here at one point.
I don't know if the picture was real, but God bless his soul, but DMX, actually, a few years ago, there was a picture of DMX with a Bootios box. I don't know if that was real or not, but yeah.
I'm sure it was. As a fan, because I know you have to watch people's performances, do you think that people like Goldberg, even though Goldberg's still a massive star, I remember being disappointed when I heard Goldberg talk back in the day. Because he was such a, he used to come out and not say nothing, white people out.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, you don't got the mic game The Rock got. You don't got the mic game Hogan got, Savage got. Do you think about stuff like that?
I do. I think, and this is not me necessarily, talking about Goldberg specifically. I think there's certain people that, I get it. I think kind of you can ruin the mystique by opening your mouth sometimes. And we definitely have talent like that. I think, though, to become a big star, you need to be good on the mic. You need to be good. I mean, we've had a few people who aren't great on the mic who became big stars, but I
can't really think of any. It's really only two I can think of. Ultimate Warrior and Goldberg.
That's true.
Cena's incredible.
No,
Rock, incredible.
That's
Hulk
true.
Hogan, incredible.
This is true.
Randy Savage, incredible. Roddy Piper, whoever. Ric Flair, like.
Very true.
You gotta have that, so you write bars down yourself and.
Yeah, I'll definitely write some stuff. And then that's the nice part is it's also a different system now because like back in the day, those guys had more freedom to just, say whatever they wanted. The stuff that The Rock got away with, it was also a different era. But and I'm not saying I could be the next Rock if they gave me freedom. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But it's different. We just can't. It's a little bit. It's more scripted, and we have corporate. We have sponsorships to worry about and tie-ins. So it's a little bit more. It's different now. But you're right. It's a huge part of becoming a star in what we do.
What hypes you up more, when they boo you or when they cheer for you?
I used to love getting booed. I did. I'm loving the cheers now. It feels good to feel the love now. So yeah, I'm. This current run has been a lot of fun. Everyone just showed me so much love after winning the titles.
Now, what's one thing they asked you to do? You just like, I'm just not doing that.
I'm trying to think. Nothing too crazy. Years ago, they asked me if I could do like a peck dance on TV, like
what?
Like a peck dance. There's a dude named Chris Masters used to like pop his pecs rhythmically, and I said,
like we used to do that.
Right. Yeah. And then I do a lot of silly nonsense, but I was like, I ain't trying to do all that. I ain't trying to do all that right now.
Basically, when you would twerk with your chest.
Pretty much. That's what it is. Yeah.
What about if they ask you to lose and you don't want to?
Nah, I mean, that's an element of what we do. That's an element of what we do.
But doesn't it sometimes suck? Like, I know this next one, they're like, I don't think he's going to win. Big E's going to lose to Seth Rollins. How does that...
It's just, you just deal with, I've just learned to block out the outside noise too. That's a big part of what we do. There are always people who will chime in and have their feelings, and that's great. Like we were just recently voted the greatest tag team of all time. Mm-hmm. And I get wrestling is so tied to nostalgia for so many people. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of people my age who it doesn't matter what we do. We could win 1,000 titles. We could be megastars. It doesn't matter because when they grew up, the Hart Foundation touched them in a certain way.
Right.
Or
the
road. Yeah. And I'm never going to say, nah, you guys are wrong. We're the greatest. I'm never going to say that. But so that's part of what we do. Especially, and we have a vocal fan base, man. People feel the way they want, and I got no problem with that.
Legion of Doom was hard though.
They were hard, bro. Just two massive dudes who came out with those shoulder pads with the spikes.
And their finishing move, when the guy would put the guy on the shoulders, the other dude get up and clothesline him. Oh man,
no, it's incredible.
Has there ever been a situation where, let's say, the script was this way, but then the other wrestler was like F that and went rogue? And went the other way?
That does happen. It does happen. Hasn't happened with me. People have a bit of respect for me, and that's a big part of what we do too. I think that's why, like, we have people often ask, hey, do you get along with people in the locker room? I say, yeah, for the most part, pretty much everyone. It's like any other workplace, but you have there's a certain level of trust you have with someone in what we do because it is entertainment. And I have to trust that you're not going to dump me on my head and break my neck. Right. So there's like, if you respect me, I respect you. We take care of each other. We go home to our families. We pay our bills, and we get to move on with our lives.
Is it tough as a black champion? Because, there's things that have happened, like, Vince McMahon has used the N-word, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, I think they said WWE is one of Trump's biggest donors. Do you get flack for that?
I don't get flack for it. I guess I see myself as... I don't want to say like I'm light in an area of darkness, but I think sometimes you have to work from within. We all work for these massive systems, and there's certain beliefs and views that I don't necessarily agree with or feel. But I feel like my presence in WWE, I still feel like I can reach people, that I can motivate people, that I can still show like, hey, this is how I feel, this is how I see the world. So I still feel like within the system, there's a lot of people that it's a massive platform, and I don't want to lose that.
Have any of those conversations ever happened, like behind the scenes? Just like you might have personal questions, like, so what's up with this?
So I haven't necessarily asked like Vince about his political views or donations and whatnot, but I know, there are things that I wanted to do, like, and again, smaller gestures, but the things that matter to me. So after George Floyd, Kofi and I decided like we needed to show people like, hey, we're with you. We're feeling the same pain you are. We're crying the same tears. So I just went up to Vince and said, hey, we want to kneel and throw a fist up. And is that cool? Just want to run it by you. And he said, yeah, there was no problem whatsoever. And that's what we did. And again, I'm not saying we changed the world by any means, but a lot of things that, that I felt were important to me this past year especially, there's just something, and I feel like so many of us, that George Floyd's death was something that touched me in a way that no one, and I think it had a lot to do with the fact that I wasn't jumping on a plane. I didn't have all these distractions during the pandemic. I had to sit with this. We all had to sit with this. So there are things that I want to accomplish, that I want to do, and let, like, especially, man, when you see these black kids at shows, and we obviously we're here to entertain kids from all backgrounds and ethnicities, but there's just something too, because you can look out and see a young black girl or boy, and they remind you of yourself, or they remind you of like my sisters when I was young, and that means a lot to me to let them know, just because we are on TV, just because we have money or fame or whatever it is, that doesn't make us above feeling the way that you feel. Like, I'm hurting like you hurt. I'm talking to my black friends we're talking about being stopped by police when we were younger. We're talking about these same things, having these same conversations, shedding these same tears, and that's been important for us.
And none of those kids care about what Vince McMahon political beliefs
That's
is.
the thing,
They just
too.
want to be entertained.
That's the thing, too. And I think a lot of times when people are like, they feel a certain way about celebrities or whatever it is, oftentimes those kids don't know. So let them have that moment with their celebrity or whoever it is. So, yeah, like you said, they don't know. It's something that doesn't cross their mind.
You know what was trash, and I hate it? When they first opened back up, the pandemic, and they made y'all wrestle with no fans in there. How was that? Because you could hear you grunting. It just didn't sound right. So how was that for you?
It's different, but it's different. But we were trying to do the best we could. The problem is, like, we got to put on 52 weeks of Raw, of SmackDown, regardless.
But no fans.
And I know. But I felt the same way when I watch boxing. I watch some of these top ranked cards, and they're doing the same thing, and it doesn't feel the same. Same thing. I'm a massive college football fan, and I'm watching these games in Ann Arbor, the big house, and you're used to 100,000 people, and you're seeing nobody. So I feel like sports for me this last year was weird all around. I feel like for everything I watched, I couldn't get into college football the same. I couldn't get into boxing the same. But now with fans coming back, so I feel like everything, and I think too, our industry, maybe more than almost anyone, I think relies on fans. That fan reaction is such a massive part. Because like you said, like we call it the Thunderdome, and we had fans there virtually. But it wasn't the same. We're just doing the best we could.
It does make you appreciate those athletes more, though, because you realize that they genuinely have a love for what they do. Because they'll go out there and just do it. They just want to be on the court. They just want to be on the field. They just want to be in the ring.
Exactly. Because if you're there just for the notoriety and the fame and like going out there for those empty arena matches, boy, it's going to wear on you. That's got to be hard. But, yeah.
What's the craziest fan moment you've ever had?
What?
What's that?
What's the craziest fan moment you've ever had?
Nothing too crazy. Let me pass this title to Charlamagne. I've had people.
Goddamn WWE.
I've had people ask to sign body parts.
Okay. That's regular, right?
Right, but some more intimate body parts as well. But everyone's usually pretty respectful. Everyone's usually pretty cool.
You don't look tough.
It looked like you about to topple over.
This shit hard. It's the hardest way to hold the belt. I love when people hold the belt like this, like
over the shoulder. That's the way to go.
Man.
That's the way to go.
I love it. I love it. Listen, question: what does Kaz? Because Kaz is my guy, and culturally, Kaz does a lot as far as like promoting WWE. Kaz, Wale, what do fans like that mean to the sport?
It's massive. So Kaz is my guy too, and like Wale is a friend. Like in the sense that we talk about life, we talk about day to day. And it's big because there are a lot of people who might not necessarily have an entry to professional wrestling or to WWE, or who might not care. But if they hear a bar from Wale about Ric Flair or about me or whatever it is, it means a lot. And Wale's the type. Wale does so much for us, like for free. Like the fact that he does my entrance song, and that to me, like I told him, I tweeted this before too. I was a Wale fan before anyone even cared to know my name. And it's dope to have a friend of mine and one of my favorite rappers, perform my theme. And I also think Lauren too should get a lot of love. I'm loving the new album.
Wale gonna be tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I know he's in town.
No, those guys love wrestling. Like you can tell, like going to wrestling matches is good for their mental and emotional health.
For real. No, they're massive fans, and it shows through. And I think our fans too, our fan base is so picky. When they sense a celebrity or someone is just there for the check, they'll boo them mercilessly. They'll try to get them out of the building. But it's not like that with Wale. Wale actually emceed. We had a rap battle, us against the Usos. We had no business rapping. But no, like they didn't turn on Wale because they know he's a fan. He hosts every year. He'll host Wale Mania, which is just a big party right before WrestleMania. So people know how much like wrestling means to Wale.
How about when you have celebrities jump in that ring, like when Floyd jumped in there or Shaq jumps in there? How was that?
So there's some people, they're purists who don't like it because they just want, their guys in the ring. They don't want to see celebrities. But I think if it's good for business, if people are into it, I think there are instances where like celebrities have killed it. Bad Bunny did an incredible job. He had a great WrestleMania match, but he also took it seriously. Like he went down he moved to Orlando and trained on. This man does not need to be doing this. He's massively famous, but he committed to the craft and it showed. So
he killed it.
Because he probably understands what it could do for his career. Like there's always another level, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think he was just a fan as a kid. He probably wanted to be a wrestler. That was his moment. He was like, I'm gonna.
And Bad Bunny's a great wrestler name too.
Yeah, no, it all worked. But like everything about it, and he was cool backstage too. Sometimes some people come back and they have a certain air about themselves, but nah, he just killed the whole thing.
Well, what do you want to do next, Big E?
I have a lot of things actually that I want to do next. But right now, we started a Kickstarter. This is me, Andreas Hale, my friend of mine, and Jonathan Davenport.
Andreas, that's my guy.
Yeah, great dude. But we started a Kickstarter because we're making a short film called Our Heroes Rock, and it's we want to use animation. We actually have a song already done by Rhapsody. Eric the Architect produced it, but essentially we want to tell the story of Ruby Bridges. I'm sure you know, but for anyone who doesn't, she was born in 1960, which means she's only, I think, this was in 1960. She's still in her 60s, but she integrated in an all-white school in New Orleans, and her story is incredible. She was a 6-year-old black girl born in 1954, and her story is incredible. So we want to use animation, we want to use hip-hop, and it's pretty much kind of the spiritual successor to Schoolhouse Rock, and just tell her story. And our hope is to tell more of these stories. So that's a thing that we're definitely working on now that we're really excited about. And doing that now. I'm also doing some voice acting, which I had fun doing. A little show called Laser Wolf, which Vince Staples was on, Quinta Brunson. So yeah, there's just a lot of things in entertainment that I want to do, but I just also want to use my platform to do some good as well. I
would love to be involved in that Ruby Bridges thing. I feel like I saw that somewhere. Maybe I saw it. I follow Andreas. Maybe I saw him post about it or something. But
he probably posted a lot about it. Yeah, let us know, man.
That would be dope. That would be dope. She had a film. It's a while ago, like in the 90s. It was based on it was real people though, not animation.
Right. Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah, that's our plan. I think a lot of times too, education, especially this stuff that can be heavy, it can feel pedantic, it can feel heavy. Right. But I think when you do it in a fun way, especially when you hear the song from Rhapsody and you do it in a way that engages kids, and kind of the metaphor I've used is when I was a kid, if I had medicine or vitamins, and oftentimes my mom would crush it up and put it in the applesauce and mix it in.
That's right.
And that's what we want the show to be, is you have this applesauce and you're enjoying it, and you don't realize you're walking away with all these nutrients and this information. You have this jingle, so you understand the story. And our hope is that like young black boys and girls understand all the giants that came before them, because there's so many of these things that we don't know, that we didn't get taught in schools. And our hope is that we can teach people in an engaging way and have them better understand like where we come from, who our people are, activists, scientists, authors, whoever it is in our community that have done incredible things.
Absolutely. And the Survivor Series coming to Brooklyn next month.
Yes, that's right. Survivor Series is massive. November 21st, we'll be at the Barclays Center. Raw versus SmackDown, but we'll be here. We'll be in town. Should be a hell of a show. Yeah.
Well, Big E, we appreciate you for joining us this morning.
Big E.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's The Breakfast Club. Good morning, Big E.